Okay, so what do we have here? More on this thing. Just so you know, this token today there was an interesting development. There was an attempted hack, and and the whole reason was to force a panic sell, which they did. The token that this is based on actually fell by a large percentage today. It's like a big red candle. On the chart, but I don't know. It's like spooked some whales into leaving, pulling their stuff out, and also the developer, the main developer who runs this thing, made a comment about these people are going to be FOMOing back in later, and there's also copycat sites for this, and that those things are not tested, and they don't scale well, because they're trying to give too much, interest back to the members. They're not going to scale well. So this is the original right here. Now, the more I look at this thing, I mean, this is an interesting experiment, okay? I just want to drive this home, okay? Everybody's comparing this thing to BitConnect, and that's a faulty comparison. BitConnect was a centralized, scammy thing, right? There was no Bitcoin trading going on. It was just a pure Ponzi scheme, okay? Yeah, they had a token, but the thing itself was being, you could exit scam something like that. Whenever that thing's controlled by people, right? Greed takes over, right? Even if it's not created with that in mind. This thing here, it's on the blockchain. It's a smart contract written. It's written in Solidity, I guess, and it's a DApp running on the Ethereum network. It's an actual smart contract that runs things. That's the whole basis of Ethereum. Excuse me, and it's not like controlled by anyone, you know what I mean? The website is, the front end, but not the actual smart contract. They can't take down the contract, This thing has been, tested, it's been audited, it's been test hacked, and it's been run through like actual testing before it was released. So, and the concept, weak hands, proof of weak hands. In other words, instead of proof of work, like Bitcoin and most of these mined coins use, this thing here, it's kind of like a quasi exchange. They're making it like it's an exchange when in fact, you're buying into it. You're buying into the token, the ERC20 token that's created for this thing. You use Ethereum to buy it. But when people sell out, in other words, when they buy in, there's a 10% penalty which goes into the pool. And when they cash out, there's a 10% penalty that goes into the pool. So you're protected. In other words, whenever someone buys in, the members get something, and whenever someone cashes out. So it's not like a pyramid, because with a pyramid, the people, or Ponzi scheme, the people who are last in get screwed, right? This thing has a protection for that, because as people pull out, they're assessed like a fee, 10%, which goes back into dividends for the people who are holding. It encourages holding, or hodling. So, sorry if I seem distracted. My dog, I got a new puppy and he's running around. I don't know what he's doing. That makes me nervous. So this thing here, you get a cut on every exchange fee. Volume-based income, right? So this stuff is, it's a proof of weak hands. It's like, where it says mine weak hands, not the blockchain. It's when people panic sell, when there's a panic sell, the people who stay in get rewarded for that. Okay, and the people panic selling are basically paying. They're not just cashing their stuff out, right? So, and you know, everybody gets those fees when they cash out, and it's worth it because you're getting dividends while you're in the system. Okay, that's partly how the members are rewarded. Okay, and not to mention, as the popularity of this thing goes and the value of the token goes up, uh, you know, that's got value as well. So this thing is it's like a proof of concept. It's a very interesting concept, and you know, even the developers say, look, this could fail. Something could happen. This could fail. They're not guaranteeing anything. There's no income that's guaranteed. It's not done like an investment per se. I mean, it even says here, this is an entertainment platform, not an investment platform. It's great entertainment during this down market. I'll tell you that, because you can actually make money on this, and it actually is very entertaining if you're into this sort of thing. Meanwhile, the overall crypto market's been crap lately. This is right now the bright side in this. This is like a big, beautiful game that's providing. I mean, it provides entertainment as well as value, potential value. So really, you should do your own research and don't just blindly listen to people pro or con on this. All right, don't take my word for it. I have a link below that you can go to this thing and check it out. But, you know, do your own research. If you think something like this isn't on the up and up, then by all means, don't throw anything in. And I would never recommend throwing in anything that you can't afford to lose, okay? Because it's a game. I mean, this is definitely a game, all right? But, I mean, just like CryptoKitties, though. CryptoKitties, it's different than CryptoKitties, but CryptoKitties is a game on the Ethereum network, and that thing, people were making money selling those things, all right? I mean, that was no scam. It's a game. So you have to be open to these different new ways of doing things. This here is really, really, it's a very interesting concept. It's a great proof of concept. And today, the concept was proven when a bunch of bad actors came together to cause a panic sell. And basically, the people who stayed in were able to mine the weak hands. The weak hands are the people who panic sold. All these little kids from Reddit, who the same thing with the market, the regular market tanks. They're all saying, "This is the end. Sell everything." You got these people. The things they type out are amazing, and they were the same people in the chat group. In the chat group for this thing here, you could see them all. I'm selling everything, whatever, and all the hodlers were like, "Go ahead, sell. You're just paying us," and that's what happened. And they're all going to be FOMOing them later, so even though the token lost value during this sell-off, it's going to regain that as they all FOMO back in. So this is a very interesting concept. Definitely look it up. And by the way, if you buy above the certain amount of tokens, and it's not much, you can run a master node. Basically, you get like a referral link, and it's 30%. That's very generous, 30%. So if you're an online marketer and you're into this sort of thing, 30%. But watch how you market it. This is not an investment scheme or platform. It's not an investment. Don't start, you know, because that's what gets these things in trouble. You start saying, this is an investment, this is how much you're going to make. You can't tell people how much they're going to make. It's all based on volume, okay? If anything, it's a game, and it's an interesting proof of concept that you can make some profit on. You know, don't be one of those idiots who draws the wrong kind of attention to something like this. Now, this thing isn't centrally run, so I'm not sure how, like, say, the state of Texas or somebody would go after something like this. I don't know who would get the cease and desist when nobody's actually, you know, I mean, the smart contract is actually running things. Sure, there's developers who work on this thing, but I'm not sure if they would get served. The bottom line is, I mean, freedom. People ought to be able to have fun with stuff like this, just like they gamble in Vegas or something. You know, that's legal in most places. I believe as long as you know what you're getting into, and you should be an educated person who is willing to, if you're willing to take a certain risk, and by all means, don't don't risk money you can't afford to lose. Don't use your rent, your mortgage, your kids' college money on something like this. If you throw a little bit in to see if you could double it, maybe cut down on your losses elsewhere, I personally think it's worth it. So that's how I'm angling this thing, okay? But if you're an online marketer, you can really run with this thing in the short term, especially if you have a big following. If you got a big following on social media, you know, and you know the lingo and everything, and you know you've got some influence, you can really, you know, you can really run with this thing. So check out my link below this video and learn all about it. And this is a very, very interesting concept and ecosystem here. It's not BCC. Okay, some people are comparing it to that. It's not. I was never tempted to get into BCC. Okay, never, or USI or any of those things. You know, I was in Traffic Monsoon, but that was a completely different thing. That was traffic based. And I was mad when the government took that down because I knew what I was doing. You know, I don't need the nanny government protecting me. But, you know, there's some people that, you know, they get in over their head or they're stupid and they want the government to rescue them. And the government doesn't rescue them because none of those people get their money back from the government. If anything, they lost their money and they lost their advertising that you were paying for. That's my dog playing with a bone, being a bonehead. So anyway, if you heard that bang in the background. So definitely look at this, especially if you're one of my friends who's an online marketer, especially if you're a heavy hitter. You know, get in on my masternode here. All right, you'll be helping me and my family out. I mean, I'm just going to say that outright. And work with me here on this thing. It's interesting. Or at least look at it, you know. But you could do this thing without any kind of recruiting or, you know, or stuff like that. You don't have to pull other people in, but it's like 30% if you do. You get 30% of their buy-in. It's very interesting. But this proof of weak hands thing is brilliant. It is actually brilliant when you think about it. I want you to sit down and ponder what this is. Compare it to proof of work. It's a mining concept, if you will. You know, it's like an analogy. Some of it's done tongue-in-cheek, okay, to be funny and for marketing purposes, but it really does work. And it's like, it's actually, if you took one pyramid one way, the normal way, and you take another pyramid upside down and connect them in the center, so it's like an hourglass, that's how this thing works. Okay? So it's an hourglass scheme, which is actually very fair. It's freaking brilliant. So that's just what I think about that. And if you don't like it, don't bother with it. Simple as that. We're all adults here, right? Freedom of choice. So thanks for watching, and there's a link right below the video on or in my post on how to learn all about this thing. This is making crypto fun again for now, and I think it might have some legs to it, provided there are no hacking disasters on the horizon. Okay.